guys. I'm Rowan.
And I'm Miguel. And today, we thought of this really fun video idea where we are going to be ranking all of the scratch blocks except the ones that are after my list because that video would be like 30 cajillion hours. But, yeah, we're just gonna rank every scratch block, and there's no really criteria. It's just based, I guess, on how useful they are. And even though I just said there's no criteria, I just said criteria. How useful they are and how often they are used in the projects, and if they're like really good and like life savers. So, without further ado, let's start the video.
Alright, so the first block we have is move 10 steps. Now this block is very useful when you have a player that is pointing in the direction of the mouse and you want it to move there.
This is the first block that you use in your Scratch. If you look at some of the tutorials that Scratch gives you, you'll see that they use this block very often. It's the first block on the whole entire page, and it is very, very useful. And for that reason, I think it deserves an A tier.
Next block, turn clockwise 15 degrees. Alright, so for this block, I would say that this was also a very useful block. Let's say you're trying to make some sort of animation, or you just need to make a sprite rotate when it's clicked or something like that. There's many other uses for it and it could be used in many ways that can make it more useful than it seems at first.
I think that it deserves a B tier. It's not as good as the 10 steps, but it's still very useful.
Me too. Next,
this is the go-to block. Now, for these types of blocks, where they have multiple options, we'll be just rating it as a whole, instead of go to random position and go to a certain sprite. So, if we're rating it as a whole, for certain games, going to a random position is really, really well.
Alright, so for the go-to block, I'm saying, I think that whenever like you have a multiple clones and you want a sprite to go to a clone, there's no block for go to clone of sprite. It's always just go to the actual sprite. So that kind of makes it a little worse, and you have to put in a lot of code if you want to try to do that. There's other things that you could do with this go to block that really make it overpowered, but in its base form, I would say it's probably a B tier.
Alright, so next up we have the almighty go-to block. I think without explanation, this block is an easy S tier.
You can do a lot of stuff with this block, but honestly, it just makes positioning so much easier instead of having to drag out 2 different blocks and do a bunch of stuff. This is the best block in Scratch, in my opinion.
I will have to disagree.
I'm kidding.
Next up, we have the go-to random position. Or is that go-to?
No,
it's
glide.
So this one is a slightly different counterpart from go to glide, and I think this one is just around the same, maybe slightly worse, because sometimes you don't need that animation, and the go to random position is kind of the run without screen refresh of the glide to random position, and you don't need to see all of that getting set up. Still a very good block for animations and stuff, but as a block, I think it deserves a C.
This is the same thing, but for a set position, so it should go in C tier. Now, here's the point and direction. This block is a great block. If you want to make something go point in the direction of something, like very smoothly with the algorithm that we use in our videos, you have to use this block because it won't work with the point and direction of a thing like this, like pointing to a mouse pointer or point towards something else, because you have to use this to type in certain numbers and inputs.
This is an easy S tier. If combined with the correct other blocks, then this becomes one of the best blocks in Scratch. Now for the point towards the mouse pointer. This is a very cool block. In the shooter game series that we did, This was very crucial to know where the bullets would land or shoot. You can also make And with all of that being said, I think it deserves a B tier.
Next is the change X by. This is a very W block. Like let's say you're trying to make gravity, you need this block to make gravity, or else it would just not work.
Actually, that's why.
So, the set X and the set Y are the same thing as this one block here, but it's not going to be the same tier because they're two separate blocks and they're not as good. So for the change X by, we're going to put this one in.
We're just gonna do the change Y also right now. That one also deserves an A tier, and it is slightly better than the change X because you can make gravity with it, and gravity is more important than speed.
And we're going to put these set blocks in. Yeah, these go into D tier. They're just not as good.
We are only not putting them into F tier or never use because we do use them sometimes, but yeah, no. Next up, we have the rotation style left, right, all around, or no rotation at all. This one is almost never used, but it is useful. It's also, it could be good. I think it only deserves a D tier though. I don't think a lot of people use it, and it's a very good block, but not a lot of people use it, so that's why it goes into D tier.
Next, we have if on edge, bounce. This block is also one of the first blocks you use when first starting Scratch, because you can use this for games like Pong and other simple games like that you would make when you first start on Scratch. So, for this, we're going to say C tier.
Next up, we have the exposition block.
So, for these three blocks, the direction is not as the same as these, but these are used for algorithms and things like that when we're trying to calculate the position of the sprite in the future or in the past. So, I'm gonna say these ones probably would go in B tier, and the direction one is used for direction one is probably gonna be in C tier, and it's used to point in, like, let's say we're trying to make a smoothing and point direction smoother than just snapping to this direction it's trying to face. Then yeah, it's not as good as these two.
Alright, that's it for motion. Time to go to looks. The first one is say hello for 2 seconds, or blank amount of seconds. This one is never used. Has anyone actually ever used this besides
I don't know, bro.
People have only used this in their animations, and while animations are really cool, we just don't use them. We just don't use them. The say hello block is a D tier. It is in D tier, and it is only used because for us, whenever something is sensing, but we want to make sure that it's really sensing,
Use it for testing purposes.
We put a say hello block to show if it is actually sensing or not. Yeah, that's the only reason it's a D tier. Again, same thing with the animations. Actually, we're gonna switch the say hello and the say hello for 2 seconds because because hello just stays on there forever, and hello for 2 seconds hides, which I think is better. Same thing for the thinking one. They're the same thing. The switch costume too is a pretty good block. You can switch the costumes, you can make animations with it. I think it deserves a B tier.
Alright, the next block we have is next costume. This block is also used for animations, but more so for like actual animations. Like let's say you're pushing a button and you want it to show. This is very good. I wouldn't say it deserved A tier. It'd probably be in the same category as Switch costume.
The Switch costume though is slightly better because you can set it to the next costume.
Next we have the change backdrop. I never really use this because I mean, like, let's say you're trying to make levels, you would probably use it for that. But I would
usually
say,
we make our own sprites as the backdrop.
Yeah, usually I mean, yeah. So I would say this just goes into like C.
Yeah.
Same thing for next backdrop. It's just like,
Actually, that one's even worse. Put that one in D. Come on, man.
yeah, I mean, oh, that's my
F.
bad.
F is fine.
It kind of just teleported there. I didn't even. All right,
Chosen one.
our first F is here. All right, next we have the change size by. Now this is also very good. If you guys have watched any of our tutorial videos, you know that we use this when making butt smoothing and stuff like that. Actually, no, we use set size instead of change. But this is also a very valid block. Just probably not as good as set, which we use for smoothing algorithms. So I would say, yeah, A tier. And the
Next.
change size goes into C tier.
Next up, okay, so the first one is change. So changing it is about the same thing, but so in the cursed scratch blocks video, I think that's what it was, we combined all of these blocks together, and it made this really cool background pattern with just the scratch cat, and for that reason, it deserves a B tier.
Okay, so this is our second row for the B tier. Alright, so here is a set color effect, which I would probably say it is also in B tier, but it is slightly better.
Next up, we have the clear graphic effect.
This is just like resetting the position, but this is probably just going to be in the same area because there's not a lot of things you can do with it, and it pretty much only does what it's supposed to do.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
But like, there's not a lot of like
There's not a lot of
customization.
things.
Yeah, it's not like.
Next up, we have the show block. This is an easy A tier because without it, your projects would be bad.
This is like the yin and yang of Scratch. Like, if there's hidden, there has to be show, and if there's show, there has to be hide.
They're both easily an A tier.
Okay, next we have go to front layer, go to back layer. This
one's a B tier.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely need this. Like, let's say you're trying to make a button show up on the screen, but it's popping up behind the menu screen. You need it for that. And same thing for this go forward. Okay, next we have the switch costume to number. So for these are actually one of these. They're just like little inputs. So let's say you want to know the number of the costume it's on right now. Then you could use that. Same thing for the backdrop number. And the size, you can find out the size of the thing, which is also a pretty W. So, oh shoot, that's my bad. So the costume number is probably gonna go into a C tier.
You can set it to a random costume number for randomization.
Oh yeah, that's my bad. And also, okay, so here you put that there, so that goes in C tier, and same thing with backdrop number goes in C tier. Size would probably go in B tier. And
that is all of the
looks.
Now for the sound. This is by far the most deprived one.
Yeah.
This one just sucks all over. Honestly, I would not be mad if we just put all of them into never used, but that would not be fair because we do use some of them.
So start sound probably goes in D
tier.
Play sound until done, C tier. Stop all sounds,
That's
D
a
tier.
C tier.
Pitch effect, I mean, I don't really use that.
Never using that.
Okay, same thing with the set effect. Alright, next we have the clear sound effects, which is probably like the same as stop all sounds. I don't really know the. Oh wait, oh yeah, okay. Then this is actually gonna go to F.
So that one's the change volume by. That's it.
And
Has anyone actually?
set volume.
Set volume is a slightly better.
Yeah, D tier, and then volume is never used.
Who ever used it? Next up,
We have
the
events. So this is obviously a S tier, because when have you ever made a Scratch project, a live stream, where you can make a game without the when green flag clicked? Like, come on guys, like, you need this. So that's why it's an S tier. I mean, like, whenever you see this when green flag clicked, you automatically think of Scratch.
Come on.
And okay, next
What is that?
next we have one space key press.
These are B tier.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really use these a lot. Same
No,
thing
wait,
on
hold on. We have
this.
to explain why. We have to explain
Okay.
why. The reason we don't use put back the one sprite click. All right. So the reason we don't use the when key space pressed is because even when you stop the project, if you have code under that, then even when the project is stopped, things will keep running if you click the set button, and that is just not a good way to live. I'd rather use the if key space pressed in the sensing. Yeah. And same thing for when this sprite click. It's a lot better for if touching the mouse pointer down. Just
Okay, this is when the backdrop switches to backdrop, then do something. Like, I've never used this in my life, bro. This is what the block you use when you're trying to make a game without the one green flag click, so that's probably just gonna go in like a D tier. And then when I receive messages, a W block, that's probably gonna be in like an A tier. Broadcast message is about the same as an A tier. I mean, as the same as the one I receive, because they just go hand in hand. And then this is broadcast message and then wait.
And when you do that, you can put code under there.
Yeah. So
I don't really know what that's just for. That's a B tier.
Oh yeah, I mean, why did I put it in there?
That's just like the unknown block.
Yeah. This is wait 1 second. This is probably
a W block. This is a S tier.
Yeah, S tier.
Without this, we wouldn't be waiting 1 second.
Repeat 10 is probably an A tier. And then we have this forever loop, which is an S tier.
That is the best block.
Yeah, you need this for like everything.
That's the best block. Without the forever block, you can't make a game then.
And then if this if statement, is also probably
that's an A tier.
An A tier. Okay, bro, whatever you say.
I'm just joking, y'all. I'm for real.
Trolling. Alright, and then if else is going to be an A. Then wait until is probably B, yeah. And repeat until is also
a
C tier. Stop all would, I mean, I didn't use this a lot, yeah, so I'll just say D. And then
so stop all the scripts and sprite, that's also
B tier. And then stop this script.
This script is a B tier. When I started to clone is a tier. You need that.
Create a clone of myself, probably also an A tier. And then delete this clone. You all need these in order to make a proper game.
But don't put all of them together.
Yeah. Okay, so we're finally done the control, yeah. Okay, now we're on to sensing.
This is the touching mouse pointer block. It's very useful. This is one of the easiest A tiers.
Yeah. And it's not just touching mouse pointer, it's also like touching sprite or anything like that. This one is like the same thing, but it gets more complicated because it's when touching color. Because multiple sprites can have the same color, and it gets very complicated. So, I would probably put this in C. Next, we have when one color is touching another color. I have never used this in my whole life, bro. When this one is asking a question, and then the user types something in.
This is for games where this is for like RPGs.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Set your character name. That's pretty cool. C tier.
Yeah, C tier. And then this is the answer block. You need it to like actually set the name and stuff like that. And
this is what we were just talking about. The key space pressed. That is a tier block. That is a very good block.
Not when mouse down.
That's also an A tier.
Yeah. Mouse X and mouse Y, we need this for smoothing.
That's a solid B tier.
Yeah, B tier. And same thing for mouse Y. And then drag mode, literally.
We have like barely. This is an F tier.
Loudness, same thing.
F tier.
Timer, C tier. Like
tier.
Like okay, like let's say you're trying to make a timer in the game. You would use this sometimes, but like it's easier to just make a timer by yourself because this scratch timer is super finicky.
Yeah,
and same thing for reset
the variables.
Then what is this? Backdrop number of sprite.
Oh yes, this is such a W.
Yeah, this is an actual good block.
This is actually an S tier.
Cause you need this block for so many things.
This is the most underrated block ever. You can use this block to when you make a shooter game, to make the bullets go in the direction of the players pointing. It can go like the X position, etc. It's just like the best block.
All right, next we have current year. Literally, I've never used this.
Yeah.
Same with days
Unless
since
you're doing
2000.
a countdown, then yeah.
Days since 2000, and then username. And then
Username's an F tier.
yeah, I've
I
used
used it
that.
All right, and that is all the sensing categories.
Yeah.
Just 2 more to go.
Now we have the, what are these called?
Operators.
Oh yeah, operators. So these are all the math blocks. So I would just say all of these, like multiply, divide, plus, stuff like
All
that.
of those are in C tier.
C tier.
Alrighty then. So
Yeah.
we figured it out. Multiplication is the best.
Yeah.
Thing
Is a
in
better one. And then pick random.
This is a B tier.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
And then greater and less than. Probably also a B tier. You use this like if you're trying to figure out, or you're trying to set a variable to something, or see what a variable's at and stuff like that. And then equal to
sign
is like the same thing as these. And would probably be
B tier.
B tier. Okay, all of the operators. Or is the same thing as and not is the same thing. I mean, actually, you use not more. Like if you're trying to figure out, I would say
Yeah.
not is an A.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
if
The join is actually not too bad. We just like never.
yeah.
That's a never used, but I'm not saying that it's a bad one.
Yeah, anything that's a never used isn't bad. It's just we never really use it, so we can't really have an opinion on it.
If it contains one, that's
Oh,
S tier. Not only do we never use that,
It just doesn't
that's a
exist.
bad block.
Length is actually a pretty good block. I use this a lot in multiple of my games. So I would say this is like a C, or no. This is like a D actually. No, this contains.
That's an F.
Okay, mod probably goes F. I mean,
F tier. We tried testing it out. It
doesn't. It's not that good.
Yeah. The round
Then,
block is actually pretty good.
yeah.
Let's say you're having a decimal value, but you have to round up. That's a C tier. And absolute value, cosine.
Yeah, I mean, I use this block.
Unless
Yeah, D tier. Okay, now we're on to the last category. The variables are just a W block in general. My variable, you need this for a lot of stuff, B tier. And then setting the variable is like A tier. Changing the variable is
worse
A
than
tier.
setting it, but
Yeah. Then this is show variable, my very high variable, and then cloud variable. What is that?
so the show and hide are like
No, I don't really use
Yeah.
these, bro.
D tier.
Okay, and finally we have cloud variables, which are very good for making a high score, but you do need to be a verified scratcher to do this, which kind of sucks. So it would probably be in like C, yeah. Okay, and then we have custom block. They're probably going in like B tier because you need them for a lot of things, like setting things up. And with that said, everything is done. I have no idea what any of these other blocks are. I mean, I have some experience with the list, but that's just why we're not going to be doing them.
And that is the Scratch
Tier list.
presented by Scratch Abilities.
The
Check
S
this out.
blocks.
So the holy grail of blocks are the go-to, point in direction, when green flag click, wait 1 second, forever, if, and backdrop of stage.
And everything else are mid. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please join our Discord if you can. That's okay. But always, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more.
We are trying to hit 300 subscribers by the end of the year.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and you guys
you guys
definitely
definitely
use
use
some
some
scratch abilities.